July 16, 1945, the date that changed the fate of humanity. For the first time in history, mankind had created a weapon powerful enough to erase entire cities. The world stood still as the first atomic bomb exploded in the deserts of New Mexico. Its inventor, a brilliant physicist named J. Robert Oppenheimer, witnessed the blinding flash. He had led the creation of the most dangerous weapon ever conceived. But as the mushroom cloud rose into the sky, Oppenheimer whispered chilling words from the Bhagavad Gita. "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." He had built the bomb that would end World War II. But in doing so, he also built the machine that would destroy his own life. How did the man who helped America win the war yet become a symbol of betrayal? Why did the nation he served turn against him? This is the untold story of the father of the atomic bomb, and how the weapon he created ended up haunting him till death. Born in 1904, J. Robert Oppenheimer was no ordinary child. From a young age, he was obsessed with science. By 18, he was already dreaming of becoming a chemist. He enrolled in Harvard University, but due to illness, he missed an entire year. Still, in just 3 years, he completed a 4-year degree with top honors. Physics, however, was his true calling. After Harvard, he went to the University of Göttingen in Germany, one of the world's top centers for theoretical physics. There, he completed his PhD at an age when most are still deciding their careers. Quiet, introverted, and deeply focused, Oppenheimer wasn't a politician or a showman. He was a thinker, a man driven by curiosity, logic, and the pursuit of truth. Little did he know that his mind would soon be used for war. In the late 1930s, Europe trembled as Adolf Hitler rose to power in Germany. Rumors began to spread that Nazi scientists were working on a superweapon, a bomb so powerful it could change the course of war. This rumor reached the ears of another legendary physicist, Albert Einstein. Einstein, alarmed by the possibility of Hitler possessing such a weapon, wrote a historic letter to U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1939. In it, he warned the president, "Start your own atomic bomb project, or prepare to be destroyed by Germany." That letter became the spark for what would become the Manhattan Project, America's top-secret mission, to build the world's first nuclear bomb. You might think Einstein would lead the project, but he was German-born. The U.S. military didn't fully trust him, so they turned to someone else, someone brilliant, American, and deeply respected in the scientific community, J. Robert Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer shared Einstein's concerns. He believed America had to act, and fast. In the remote deserts of New Mexico, the U.S. government built an entire secret city from scratch, Los Alamos. Here, in total isolation, the world's brightest scientists would work day and night, building a weapon that had never existed before. Over 130,000 people worked on the Manhattan Project. The security was unlike anything ever seen before. Workers weren't allowed to share their real names. Letters were censored. Even birth certificates from Los Alamos omitted the town's name, replaced by a fake postbox number. Families couldn't know what their loved ones were working on. No one outside the base knew what was really happening. And at the center of it all stood Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer and his team were racing against time. The world was at war. Every day wasted could cost millions of lives. Their breakthrough came with an element called uranium-235, a rare, unstable isotope. When hit by a neutron, it would split into smaller atoms, releasing massive amounts of energy, a process called nuclear fission. But that wasn't all. When uranium splits, it releases more neutrons, which can split more uranium atoms. This created a chain reaction that multiplied exponentially in just microseconds, resulting in a massive explosion. The energy released by this reaction was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. To put it in perspective, the Hiroshima bomb, nicknamed Little Boy, released the equivalent of 15,000 tons of TNT in a single blast. To replicate that kind of explosion using regular bombs would take thousands of planes and years of planning. But now it could be done by just one aircraft in 1 second. However, uranium-235 was rare. So scientists developed a second bomb using plutonium-239, an artificial element even more unstable and far deadlier. On July 16, 1945, in the middle of the New Mexico desert, the first atomic bomb was ready for testing. The moment had come. When it detonated, the explosion lit up the sky with the intensity of the sun. A fireball soared into the heavens. Shockwaves tore through the earth. And a towering mushroom cloud rose from the desert floor. Everyone present was stunned. Even Oppenheimer, the man who built the bomb, looked on in horror. They had succeeded. But in that success, they had awakened something dark. A power that could end wars and/or end civilization. Less than a month later, on August 6th and August 9th, 1945, the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan, Hiroshima, and Nagasaki. In total, over 250,000 people were killed, many within seconds. Thousands more died, slow, painful deaths from radiation sickness. The world was shaken. The war ended. Japan surrendered. World War II was over. But for Oppenheimer, it was the beginning of the end. He was celebrated in the media as a war hero, the father of the atomic bomb. But deep down, Oppenheimer was broken. He had imagined the bomb as a deterrent, a weapon to stop wars, not commit atrocities. The mass deaths in Japan left him shattered. He began to publicly oppose the further development of nuclear weapons. He spoke out against building the hydrogen bomb, a weapon even more powerful than the one dropped on Hiroshima. This made powerful people very uncomfortable. In 1949, the Soviet Union successfully tested its own atomic bomb, shocking the United States. Washington panicked. How did they get the technology? Fingers began pointing. Oppenheimer, once a hero, was now seen with suspicion. His wife and former girlfriend had links to the Communist Party. His leftist political views from his student days resurfaced. An inquiry was launched. Despite a lack of evidence, Oppenheimer was stripped of his security clearance. He was banned from accessing classified material. The man who once held America's greatest secrets was now treated like a traitor. His scientific community, including Einstein, protested, but the damage was done. Oppenheimer, once the most powerful scientist in America, was humiliated and silenced. For years, Oppenheimer retreated from public life. He focused on writing, teaching, and quiet reflection. He never betrayed America. He never leaked secrets. He only spoke his conscience. In 1961, when John F. Kennedy became president, he tried to right the wrong. He offered Oppenheimer a chance to clear his name in a new hearing. Oppenheimer refused. He was done fighting. To honor him, President Lyndon B. Johnson later awarded him the Enrico Fermi Award, one of the highest scientific honors in the US, but by then, it was too late. In 1966, Oppenheimer died of throat cancer. His ashes were scattered at a beach in the Virgin Islands, a place that is now called Oppenheimer Beach. J. Robert Oppenheimer's life is a tragic paradox. A man who used science to build the greatest weapon of all time, only to spend the rest of his life regretting it. A hero turned into an outcast, a patriot labeled a threat. And yet his story remains more important now than ever. Because the real danger isn't in the science, it's in how we choose to use it. Oppenheimer once said, "In some sort of crude sense which no vulgarity can obscure, the physicists have known sin, and this is a knowledge which they cannot lose." Today, the world stands on the edge of AI, biotech, and nuclear expansion. And Oppenheimer's life remains a warning. That knowledge without wisdom can destroy its own creator.